Church as a movie house, and that we get to bring the movies back to Washington Heights for free for the community. We're thrilled to bring Latino superheroes to Washington Heights. Especially Solo, he's so dreamy. And we're thrilled to have a conversation right now with the director of Blue Beetle, Manuel Soto. Come on out. Everybody smile, you're about to be on Instagram. Can we turn up the house lights a little bit so we can see you again?
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
How amazing is it to see a blinged out Puerto Rico on that screen? Because it was filmed in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Tell me, I have a million questions for you. First of all, I hope you felt the love. You know, we missed so many movies during the strikes that didn't get their due because we weren't allowed to talk about them in solidarity. But how did it feel watching it with Washington Heights?
First of all, it's my first time here, so thank you. So memorable. I usually don't stay for screenings. I don't know why. But I tried to leave, but I just keep hearing people laughing. And it's just so, you know, it premiered, what, like a year ago, maybe? I don't remember now. It feels a long time ago, but it wasn't. But the energy of you guys, especially because I made this movie for you. Being able to hear you all respond to it the way I intended to, just, you know, is very humbling and full with gratitude. So, thank you.
Tell me, when Blue Beetle came across your desk, what did you want to bring to the superhero movie? I noticed the nods to the sort of the long history of the DC character, but what did you want to bring that you pitched when you threw your hat in the ring to direct this movie?
Well, I was lucky enough to receive a draft that was based on the third version of Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle has 3, we mentioned in the movies, Dan Garrett, Ted Cord, and Jaime Reyes. And the fact that they were doing a superhero who is Latino, with Latino family, Latino environment, community, I feel like it was exactly what I would have loved to do, and specifically growing up, watching stories where we were not heroes. We were always the villain, or like terribly misrepresented. I was like, well, maybe this is a chance to make things right and maybe give a hero to a kid like me to finally see themselves represented accordingly. And yeah. I have to thank DC for allowing that and for, you know, taking that, what they consider a risk, what we know is not a risk. They consider it a risk, so they did it. And we had an amazing writer, Gareth Alcocer. He's Mexican, and he was able to pretty much make it as authentic to his experience. He's from Querétaro. Rudy, Rudy is based out of his real-life uncle who passed away during production. He lost his battle with cancer, but now he's immortalized in this film.
How many of you saw one of your uncles in Rudy? Because I know my Uncle Peter was in there.
So, like, I was able to see, like, okay, this feels real, you know? And being able to, you know, get away with the messages that we wanted to talk about, not just, you know, do the same story over and over, but really focus on the family. You know, this for us was a family adventure coming of age story with superhero elements. So we really wanted to honor the family, create that empathy, so that every emotion that you guys felt was merecido. You know.
Talk to me about this incredible cast, beginning with Zolo and George Lopez and Bruna and everybody. How did you? He's dreaming. How long was that process, and how long did it take you to find the Vegas family?
So I knew of the band that I wanted, Cholo. I had met Cholo years ago, and I was very much drawn to his personality and how he was with his family, because I met him in 2019. So when the script came, I read it, I saw the comics. You know, he's a copycat version of the comic of Jaime Reyes, but also the way Jaime relates to his family is just exactly how he relates to his. So for me, it was like, it is him. Plus, he has the martial arts background, which helps, because he did a lot of his stunts too. That's how good he is. I really love him.
I want to talk about the stunts for a second. First of all, I can tell you grew up with the same Voltron and Power Rangers. I did. And all the anime in those fight scenes. But you also talked to me about how much of it was practical.
Correct. Power Rangers is so like...
It's morphin' time!
And I was like, man, they did it, you know, with very little resources, and we didn't have the same budget as other movies, but I think that worked to our favor because it forced us to use real stunts, and everything was cable work. Like, it wasn't, a game, it wasn't CG. He had enhancements in CG, of course, you know, he didn't fly, but everything else, like even the spinning of the people, the kicks, the flying, the smashing, that's all real people getting smashed. That's like real stunts getting hurt.
And I feel like you can tell the difference. You can tell when it's weightless sort of pixels, and when things have gravity, and when things land.
Correct.
And you know, when the house, I mean, his transformation, talk to me a little about that house sequence, which is, you know, it's very rare that like the superhero transformation gets as many laughs as you get, because you also have this Latin family just like,
I grew up watching matinee horror films. Like in Puerto Rico, for some reason they put horror films at 2 p.m. I used to. So my mom would be like cleaning the garage, and I would be like running around, and she's like, "Dale, vete para cuarto, ver televisión." So I would go to the room and watch TV. I just didn't know they were putting horror films. So I grew up watching The Blob, The Fly. So I was like, you know.
The Fly. You're getting worse. I'm getting better.
Yeah, like The Thing.
Yeah, I was similarly unsupervised.
I was very unsupervised watching movies. So I was like, you know, of course those movies are not for kids, but I was like, what if we do Cronenberg for kids, right? Like, how can I do...
Cronenberg for kids? That was the pitch?
That was my pitch. And then we're like, yeah, okay. Because like in the comics, his transformation is pretty morboso, you know, it's pretty gory and it's painful at first. And I was like, how can I do it in a way that is, you know, we can get some laughs, and that's why the family is there. Like without the family, it would be very terrific and traumatic, and it was. But it was like, how can we have fun? How can we do this in a way that doesn't, it takes a little bit because transformations are transformations, but how can we make it unique? And I think the best way to make it unique is not just witnessing the person transforming, but also kind of like living vicariously through the people that are witnessing it too. So sure, you can be scared, but you really made me laugh. Okay, so I can enjoy the transformation, and you know, hopefully kids can enjoy it too.
Talk to me a bit. Again, I noticed the anime. I also feel like there's a little Verhoeven, a little RoboCop in there. Starship Troopers, particularly in the commercials for the police force.
Our goal was, literally I showed them, I need to create something like, and I wanted to push it further, but you know, You cannot win everything. But yeah, the idea was I showed them the RoboCop videos, the Starship Troopers recruitment videos.
Yeah, you've seen them on TikTok. Now, I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. Propaganda videos. If you haven't seen Starship Troopers, that part lives on in even your TikTok feeds.
Yeah.
And then also, I just want to talk about the incredible music in this film. I mean, to start a superhero movie,
You mentioned your TikTok. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Mr. TikTok.
With Cypress Hills, it ain't going out like that. Yeah, I mean, it was talk to me about all of the and how much freedom you had to sort of make the world with our music.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of freedom because we're Latino and they're not. So it's like, you cannot tell me what I listen to. They were like, okay, we'll go with it. And it helped a lot because between Garrett and me, you know, he like I said, like him being in Querétaro, Mexico, we're contemporary, maybe in Puerto Rico, we shared a lot of experiences through the arts, through TV. That's when we had Chapulín, Maria del Barrio, and with the music as well. Like he put a little bit of his music that he grew up listening to, and music that I grew up listening to, and also music that we both bonded, like Calle 13, Soda Stereo, Cypress Hill, and it was like, you know what? How can we? Because Latinos, you know, we never get along, but we always get along. It's a paradox that is beautiful, right? And I think it's mainly because they want to keep us separated, but we have to tell them no, we can be together. And the arts are going to bring us together. So I was like, instead of, it is a Mexican family, but it feels like a pan-Latino family. And mainly because I wanted every member, like the whole, I made a playlist of what would be in the iPods of every family member, and I put it in a blender, and that's what came out. And the idea was, how can, instead of alienating people because of certain cultural specificities, the family will always be Mexican, but everything around them feels pan-Latino. And I think, like, for me, the music does that, right? Like Calle 13, everybody has heard it in Latin America, and from Soda Stereo all the way north to Cypress Hill, there is a little bit that everybody can feel connected to, so that the movie speaks to them. And by using art, we can actually find more things that make us in common than what makes us different.
Absolutely. Also, I think your movie is also proof that authenticity is what connects with people when they're watching something. You know, it's not just because it's Washington Heights, but all the biggest cheers were lines in Spanish in this movie, whether it was down with imperialism or whether it was, I mean, you snuck a lot into this movie, I mean.
Yeah, well, you know,
when the braids came down.
You know, like, it's, yeah, it helps that we are bilingual and they're not. Yeah,
I always tell my kids, I go, learning Spanish is your superpower in this country, because you never know when you need the scientists working for the bad guys to switch teams and curse out Susan Sarandon.
Exactly.
We have a bond.
We have a bond, and for me, like, being able to just let them be, for example, like, there were even things that were hyper-specific, like Pidia Carrillo, she's from Cherán in Mexico, and in Cherán they call insects chombos. And she's like, oh, we say chombo. Say it. We'll get it. Like, I don't need to know what a chombo is to know what she means. And for me, that's kind of like the beauty of our language is it doesn't matter what we're saying, we understand what we're trying to say. And by allowing us to express ourselves authentically in the language that we know or that we master, and allowing the actors also to feel comfortable and express themselves, you cannot fake that, you know. And we wanted it to not be a watered down version of Latinidad. I would have done way more if I had it my way. And we will have it our way.
Talk to me a little bit about Susan Sarandon. I had a Rocky Horror Show flashback.
Yeah.
I was like, she's building another man. All these years later, I first saw her, I was like thinking, damn it, Janet, I love you.
Come on.
And you know, that's the joy of this is you have people that we bring all of their filmography with them, like George Lopez and Susan Sarandon, but then you also are making stars with Bruna and Cholo and everybody. Talk to me a little bit about Susan being a part of it and George and some of the veterans.
Well, yeah, it's I thank you for asking that because that was my favorite part. I think the family and the chemistry we were able to build with all of them is what kept me together. And seeing it work out, seeing them feel like they're a family that's been lived in. And you know, Cholo was the first one I chose, but I always knew that I wanted Damián Alcocer and Adriana Barraza. Adriana Barraza is Nana, Damián is the father, Alberto, and they are for me the best actors that Mexico has ever giving birth. And yeah, like they are the best of the best. So I knew I wanted to work with them and I wanted them for that role. And we were lucky to get Epidia, Predator, and I was like, if you haven't seen the first Predator, that's her breakout role. And I had a crush on her, and I'm like, yeah. And then we found Belisa, that she killed it. She has a great comedic beat, but she also can rip your heart out. It's heartbreaking. She's so talented. And then, you know, we knew that Rudy needed to be the comic relief and also have a heart. And I remember I saw a short film where George Lopez plays the dad of a girl that's coming out. And it moved me to tears. I was like, I know he's funny, but now I also know that he can, you know, the whole thing of like when the clown gets serious, everybody listens. He can do that. And that moment when he speaks, you can feel like he really meant it. So with the nuclear family, it was very beautiful to see them work, because instead of rehearsing the lines, I just wanted them to share stories about each other. So we spent a month or a couple of weeks, the elders sharing stories about their journey. Some of them crossed the border, some of them were, like the kids were like, oh my God, and that respect translates to love. So that way I could have them feel like they really respected all the family members, not just because they're good actors, but because of everything they had to fight in order to be where they are. And that's what we see in our fathers too, in our parents and our mothers. And then with the villains, you know, I always wanted to work with Susan. I'm a huge fan, like you, also obsessed with her since I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show. And also I know that she is socially conscious and class conscious, and I knew she would understand what her character represents in the greater scheme of things, and you know how the military-industrial complex and the U.S. interventionism relates to Latin America, especially with the dark history behind the School of the Americas. And that takes us to like Raúl Max Trujillo, who plays Carpax, who is probably the sweetest, kindest, soft-spoken man you're ever gonna meet. But man, you turn that camera on him and
You turned the bass up on his robot voice.
But like, he can, I think, you say, cut.
It's always the Danny Trejos, who are the sweetest.
And he, you know, he lives in a farm in New Mexico, nature. And, you know, he has dogs and he raises horses. Like, oh, a beautiful guy. And then, you know, if you guys haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, Harvey I'm obsessed with him. And just his performance, I think I wanted him to have that heroic moment because, you know, my name is Angel, and it doesn't matter how many times I say it, people keep calling me Angel. And if I explain, they say Angel. And I'm like, I did that scene for that. It's Angel Manuel Soto Vázquez, puñeta. That's mine. And last but not least, I really wanted to include in the Latino conversation a country that's often left out of the Latino conversation because they speak Portuguese. But you know what? Brazilians are Latinos. So we were lucky, and I was lucky to have Bruna Marquezine be part of the cast. She's phenomenal, an amazing actress. I didn't know how big she was in Brazil until we casted her. But she owned it, she felt included, and I spoke to a Brazilian lady earlier, and I know exactly how much that means to see somebody from their country be included in the Latino conversation and be part of a superhero movie like this. And if that meant a lot to her, that means a lot to us, so that means we're all part of the same group. So
Exactly. Yeah.
What are you proudest of? To wrap things up, what are you proudest of with this movie? Because, I hope you felt how much this resonates with audiences. What a great popcorn superhero movie. How much of our Latina you snuck into a mainstream DC movie. What do you take away now rewatching it sort of a year later?
Listen, rewatching it again with all of you here, that's why I did it. Like really, like for me, sitting up there watching, I was like, I'm hearing you guys laugh exactly at the things that I wanted you to laugh. Not like hearing you guys like, oh, yeah. On the parts that I wanted it. And it just means that our stories resonate, our stories connect us, our stories invite other people, and it proves that when we want to do things our way and people say we're crazy, we're not crazy. We're not crazy for wanting to tell our stories our way. And the fact that all of you are laughing, enjoying, celebrating this movie, it just means that we need more of them.
We need more of them.
Exactly.
And not you or me. We need every storyteller out there, the ones that are seated here, the ones that are not seated here, to tell their stories as well. Because, listen, like, I come from Puerto Rico, you guys know, like, I didn't study. I just went really hard to do what I wanted to do. And this opportunity, I don't take it lightly. And if I can do it, you guys can do it too. Because I'm not special. You know what I mean? We're all special. But like, I don't come from privilege. I don't have a wealthy last name, nothing. And yet, we all connected with the story I wanted to tell. So I just cannot wait for anybody out there to have the same opportunity because I want to hear your stories too. That's my biggest takeaway.
Next month we have a movie that we had scheduled for last year but couldn't do during the strike. So we're back to Mondays. April 29th, we're doing The Devil Wears Prada. Our guest is Meryl Streep.
Oh!
And I'll see you next month.